Ek dink jy hoekom het ek nie die woord century gebruik? Wel, ons gesels met Brian Baragwanath en Taye Perry en is Renjaer en navigator van Century Racing. A big welcome.
Morning.
Hi.
Were you driving fast to the studio this morning? Were you keeping by the rules?
I was getting a bit lost without my navigator, but otherwise all right.
Okay, you didn't navigate.
I did send him some details.
Ways. You guys drive next to the highway just to make it fun. So amazing. You just back from Dakar. So we're just going to first start with a little bit of background. And it's very interesting. It's the first time that I've spoken to someone with the surname Baragwanath. So Brian, a little bit of background about yourself and the surname.
It's a mouthful, of course, Baragwanath, but it's Welsh, actually. I'm about the 4th generation in South Africa, yeah.
That's so amazing because we all know the Baragwanath Hospital.
Yes.
Now I want to really research why it's called Baragwanath Hospital. Maybe you know.
I think it was one of my forefathers' farms. They donated some ground for the hospital.
Way.
Yeah.
Yes, but imagine he didn't do that. Then you had a farm to practice on with the car.
Yeah.
Sure. It's always positive and negative. So where did you grow up, right?
Petersburg, Polokwane. It was great growing up in a small town because we literally used to finish school and go and ride bikes and do all the outdoor activities. Yeah,
and we'll get to that because I mean with you as well with the quad bikes. I mean you've got a lot of experience with the quad bike. You're really good, and I want to talk about the jump from that to the car.
Yeah,
and then Taye Perry. I mean also it's so weird to I've seen a couple of interviews. Like last year as well, but a little bit of background?
I've been probably racing for also 15 years or more, and I grew up near Sun City, so it was just bushveld, and it was what we did when we got out, and my dad and brother, I grew up in the outdoors.
And you're the tomboy of the family.
Yes, that's true. I'm the tomboy in the family.
Use your own words. So just also interesting, I mean, with the bike. You were on the bike last year. And the jump to the car, but just how did that happen?
I'm still a biker. Always, I always tell people, and that's probably what makes me a good navigator. I think coming from the world of biking and having navigated on a bike as well, it makes me a very good multitasker, which is what Brian wanted probably.
So Brian, for you as well, the jump or the balance between the different you do.
Yeah, so initially I did the Dakar on a quad bike in 2015 and 2016.
Yeah.
And there you navigate as well. You navigate with your scroll roadbook as you're driving. So I had a good idea of what a biker does navigation terms. Moving to the car, I knew exactly that a biker would be very good at navigating because they do it automatically. So, yeah.
You have to do it yourself when you're on the bike.
That's the reason I was looking for a biker to navigate, yeah.
Yeah, and it's interesting. I mean, it's kind of breaking rules. I've seen a Taye with the bike. I mean, saying, listen, but I'm going to the other level because I need to challenge myself. And one interesting thing for people that doesn't understand the bikes is you can't go on a bigger bike. I mean, when you started with a 450. Yeah. And just to explain to people, I mean, and it's so funny with the rough terrains when you need to put your feet down, you're too short to do that. So the moment you get into that, you go down a bit and you pick up the bike. I was actually impressed with one of the videos picking up a bike. A lot of times you can't pick up the bike. So just the challenges, and I think the breaking ground as a female in this field.
It's definitely one of my, I think I've mastered adapting really quickly to things. The 450 is the biggest CC bike that you can race, basically. And that's what got me where I am. And I think I'm even small for probably in the car. We have our challenges. We like changing tires. He's still got to do most of the heavy lifting. I do the nitty-gritty little things. And we're getting better and better at a lot of things. So... yeah.
No, I like it. But the difference between the bike, a quad bike with the Dakar, totally different ball game.
Not too much. The car is just like a big quad bike. It's
it is like a bike
that does 200 k's an hour. So it's a fantastic experience. It's literally like being on a roller coaster for 2 weeks, non-stop through the dunes and the deserts of Saudi. Yeah.
Yeah, and then let's talk about Saudi. And I mean, for years, it moved around a bit. Beforehand, your research, You know, you like start Googling the desert. So what's happening here? You know, I mean, that must be months of preparation.
I luckily did Dakar last year in Saudi Arabia, and I think it wasn't what everyone expected because they come from South America, where the last few Dakars have been mostly dunes and sand. And then we got to Saudi Arabia, and we loved it because it was rough, dangerous, very technical, difficult stuff. And here in South Africa, that's what builds us. That's what we're used to. So I think the Southern African pilots actually did very well as the Americans. And because Dakar changed, I think Saudi Arabia is one of the best places to have it terrain-wise. So we're loving it at the moment.
Sure. And I know Margaret Thatcher's son years ago disappeared for weeks. He got lost. He thought he was a good navigator and he was actually pathetic. So can you still get lost in that desert?
Of course, you can get majorly lost there.
And they can't find you. That's interesting. I mean, I think they went for whatever kilometers in a direction and they looked for them with choppers and planes and they couldn't find them.
Yeah, Saudi Arabia's actually got a massive section called the Empty Quarter. Last year we raced through it, but not this year. They changed it a bit. And the Empty Quarter is almost like half the size of South Africa, where it's just dunes and sand.
I don't think people understand that, eh?
They don't.
Yeah, that's actually massive. Okay, we're going to talk about the car and the race after the news and weather and traffic. I'm going to do this traffic very rough, like with sand in my eyes. That's how I'm going to do it like this. So bly inskakel vir jou 7 uur nuus weer in verkeer. Ons gesels Dakar met Brian Baragwanath en Taye Perry, die Renjaer en navigator van Century Racing. Welcome again.
Cool.
Dankie.
Lekker, loop hy nou. So, let's talk about the car. Proudly, we can call it South African car.
Yes.
It's actually amazing. But just the specs, I think if I've got it right, it's like a 7-liter engine.
Yeah, so
it's a little monster.
Chevrolet 7-liter engine, V8. It comes from the Corvette originally. But yeah, the whole chassis, everything's built in South Africa. So it's a 2-wheel drive. In Dakar, you got 2 classes. You got 2-wheel drive and 4-wheel drive mainly, and then there's different engines as well. But we basically 2-wheel drive petrol, and then you get 2-wheel drive diesel. You get 4-wheel drive petrol, 4-wheel drive diesel. So those are pretty much the main classes. But the engine, the suspension, and the gearboxes are sort of outsourced. Everything else is very much built in South Africa. All the suspension parts, all the steel work, all the body work, the carbon fiber, everything done in South Africa. Yeah.
And then as a driver, do you have a bit of a say what you want in a car before a Dakar? I mean, because you're going to spend a lot of time, I don't want to know how much time, in that car. To say, this is going to fit me or my kind of driving. Or
I've got a very cool job. I'm pretty much a test driver at Century Racing. So every week we go out and we test and we try and break the car and we try and improve it and get faster and faster. So it's very nice as a driver to constantly get feedback and say, let's change this. At the moment, we're busy building a complete new chassis, new design, as to say, of what we want. And I speak to the chief engineer, Julian, and then we build something new every time. Yeah.
I like that, trying to break the car. It sounds lekker. Taye, have you broken any bones on the bike?
No, I've actually, I wouldn't say been lucky. I don't know if it's my size or what, but I'm a very consistent racer.
That's good.
Keep it together.
Keep it together. So now, being a navigator, I mean, all of a sudden, both of you, I mean, it's an individual thing that you've done at Dakar on the bike and on the quad bike, and now it's a team. All of a sudden it's a team, and I mean, there must be, the preparation must be hectic. So just like that jump from being on your own, you're the team, and now it's 2 of you. Was it a big jump for you?
It was a big jump. It was a big risk as well, getting in the car with Brian, because being a quad biker and a biker, I wouldn't say control freaks, but we're used to being in control. So it was a chance we took, and surprisingly, we worked very well together, and I think we're still learning and building on it, so we're getting there better and better.
That's great. Elsa?
Do you sometimes experience any challenges in proving yourself as a woman in your career as well as the sports world?
Definitely. I think people expect something else of me. They underestimate me, which is not a bad thing. People don't expect me to do well, or they look at me. They look at us and they think, why does he have a woman navigator? and then we go and prove them wrong. So it's good. We're pushing the boundaries, and that's what we're there for.
Yeah. And then that's the thing. But preparation. So we're talking the size now of that desert. I mean, half of the size of South Africa, just one part of the desert. Where do one practice in South Africa? Do you need to go to Namibia or go to the Karoo, find a couple of farmers, say, listen, we're going to be on the farm. It's not Elon Musk, but it's something. It's not something out of space coming through your farm, killing a couple of sheep.
So we do the South African cross country series. SACCS is the abbreviation for it. Very competitive racing. There we try. Ons probeer hard om die Toyotas weg te ry, as to say. The Toyota team is very strong, and we compete with them overseas as well. So at our SSCCS racing, we have a good platform to test and to see where we're at. And dan gaan ons ook Namibia toe, Walvis Bay, those sort of places. And I know Toyota goes to Uppington quite a lot.
Yes.
So we've got a great country. There's a lot of space. Compared to the European teams, we're very spoiled for space and testing. Yeah.
Dit klink vir my lekker. I know there's this massive testing grounds in Uppington. Swimmy built this track on his farm. And then, I don't know if you know about it, but it's actually amazing for years. It's just massive. And I mean, the guys because they've got a big airport, so the cars, it's like, you don't know if it's in the new Toyota, BMW or whatever, and they test it in the sun, it leaves it there for 3 months in the sun to see what happens, and then the racing. So, I think it's going to let some Uppington to gaan. It will be good. Was there any fights? I mean, it's the situation, or you think you made a mistake, because it can be...
There were plenty of mistakes. There were, I wouldn't say fights. We have our heated moments, but we kind of need those to build on them and to figure out what we need to strengthen and what we need to work on. So we do have those moments in the car, but we work through them, and that's what's making us stronger, I think.
And then that's the thing. I mean, now practically, the communication... navigate in terms of, it's not you sitting there with a map. I mean, it's electronically, the preparation beforehand, just like the practical side of it. If you sit there, what happens?
With the navigation, you come from a world of seeing pictures and the numbers and everything and just understanding it in your head. And now in the car, you've kind of got to turn everything into words that your driver can understand. So on the bike, it's always been a case of you can only race as fast as you can navigate. And that goes the same for in the car. Brian can't do his job well unless I'm doing my job well. So I've got to be a very competitive navigator for him to do his job very well. And I think we were doing very well. We had a few mistakes. It's only our first year in the car. So for that, I think we did really well.
And then the fastest gone, 200. Ons sien nou jou luisteraars kan dit sien nie. So die kar kan nie tot 200 ry. That's the top speed, but you can't go faster.
Yeah, there's a new rule this year where they limit us to 180. So last year we could go faster, but now this year the speed limit is 180. Sadly, yeah. We managed to be the first team to get the speeding fine for exceeding that.
To get a speeding fine and a time penalty.
And it's so funny. And then, okay, now we're going to talk about the money a bit later. So let's leave it there. So, onthou om nog steeds vir ons te sê hoe jy musiek luister. Are you listening to music in the car? That's probably impossible. You are the singer. You like the Katy Perry.
I'm
not
like
the
that very annoying voice in his head the whole time.
The whole time.
The whole time.
Colette, gaan nie. Trap die petrol. So ons gaan nou 'n bietjie meer prakties ook uitvind oor hoe lank hierdie dae is en hoe ver dit is. So bly geskakel daarvoor net hierna. Ons gesels met Brian Baragwanath en Taye Perry, die Renjaer en navigator van Century Racing. Nou net klaar gemaak haar met Dakar. Hulle het 'n boete gekry. Ek hou daarvan. Ons hou daarvan. Iemand sê dalk moet ek en Elsa bietjie in Dakar gaan deelneem. Ons het nog nie die budget nie. One day. And let's talk about the money. This is a really expensive sport, and you mentioned the competition, but the budgets these guys are working on compared to the private drivers, you need to pay everything yourself or whatever. Just like, and why is it so expensive? I understand just to get the car there must be expensive.
Yeah, so the cars we're using are top class. All the technology we're using is top class. The electronics in the car. So, to win, you need the best of the best. So that's where the money generally goes. And logistics this year was very expensive. Air freight per car with the spares was close to 500,000 Rand per car. Where normally we can take a ship, everything was a mess with COVID this year with the logistics. So Yeah, we're still on a small budget compared to the factory teams, Peugeot and Mini and Toyota and these guys. They put millions of euros into it every year. So without factory backing, it's very difficult as well. But Century Racing essentially sells cars. So the more we win, the more we can sell cars. And that's pretty much the gist of our business at this stage.
Yeah, I think the first time we spoke to you guys was about 2 years ago, and then we spoke about the business side of selling the cars, and I think they sold one to someone in Russia or whatever. So it is. I mean, you can order this car. Someone's asking. Dion Rood says he wants to know how many kilometers per liter do you get out of that 7 liters because he's V8 5.5. So it's vrek swaar. So how much do you get out of a
on a good day, 60 liters to the 100.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
So 1.5 k's to the liter around there. 1.5, 1.7 k's to the liter.
It will break me.
Yeah.
If going to Cape Town on the N1, I'll just crack up. Here's another question. Johan van Klaasen from Boksburg. Hoekom is 'n linkerhand stuur? Why is it left-hand drive, the car you're driving?
Most of the customers buy from overseas, they're left-hand drive customers. And also, most of the time, we're racing in left-hand drive countries as well. So, yeah.
En as vra iemand, was jou pa by Wits Technikon? Where did your father study?
No, very few Baragwanaths got degrees, I think.
Okay, so someone says, no, if it's your dad, I've got a very interesting story to tell him.
Okay.
So dis nie hy nie. Dis 'n ander Baragwanath. Let's talk about the distance. And still, I mean, it must be tiring. Tiring for Taye. It's a lot of kilometers, and even per day. Just like physically, you need to exercise people. How do you prepare yourself physically to know rough terrain, sitting, and you got to concentrate?
I think obviously our years of racing, and we keep racing constantly because that is the best training. But both of us, Brian runs a lot. I think we mountain bike and we do gym all the time. You got to keep yourself physically fit. You got to keep yourself mentally fit as well because it's a very big mental game. You can little mistakes can cost you big time, and just that lack of focus, like getting speeding fines, just missing that by 2 seconds that you're over the speed, or if you miss your turn on your wrong side of a ridge, it's so difficult to stay focused the whole day for 12 days, and it's close to 8,000 Ks. So. I think our total racing stage was 57 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was a long time to keep each other focused, should I say.
What was the toughest day? I mean, in terms of kilometers or maybe just obstacles?
That one.
So
That one. That one.
There's one marathon stage at Dakar where you go 2 days with no assistance. So you race 450 Ks, and then that night you stay out in the bush with no assistance. If you break the car, you have to fix it yourself. And then the next day, it's another 450 Ks back home. And the start of that day, we managed to break the car, an essential part of the car, 50 Ks.
So and it just put you back.
Yeah, that was pretty much the worst time of the race to break the car for us. And that's where we sort of lost our good standing. We were running top 10 at the stage. We were lying 6th overall. And going into the marathon stage, we hit camel grass. We between the camel grasses, we bounced between them and then broke the rear suspension. And then we had to limp home. So we did that stage. It must have taken 18 hours, I think, to finish the stage. And then we got back and we still worked through the night to fix it. And then basically had some coffee in the morning, got in the car and finished the rest to get back to our crew to fix the car properly. But
keep our wits about us the whole night and keep each other awake and navigating. And there are still, every day, there are crews out there in the dark. So you're never alone. There's people racing there to try and finish the Dakar. They don't call it the toughest race on earth for nothing. So you're constantly passing guys, and it's a very long night.
I know nothing about cars. I'm just glad you said camel grass and then we hit a camel. How did you break this car? No, we just went through a trop kamele. Wat ons hom idea.
We did have 1 or 2 close encounters.
Close encounters with a camel. It must be so funny. Did you ever cry in the 12 days? It's a question for both of you. We're not just talking to the lady here. It's not just ladies that cry.
Yeah.
No, not this time.
Not this time. Strong-willed. I like this.
Only at night in my sleeping bag, you know.
Just a little bit missing the kids, missing home. Oh, okay, and then now the future. What is the plans? Do you think you're a new team? You're a team that's going to try to stick it out for a couple of years and try to get better? Do you have plans like that?
Well, we've proved we have the pace. We just need to secure better, how can I say, funding and backup, and then we can really give the top guys a good challenge, I think.
Yeah, so it all depends on that. You know, to be able to run top 10 in the world is very special. We were lucky this year. We had guys like Comcare Medical Scheme and Caltex Heavily in South Africa. They came to sponsor us.
Oh,
So
great.
hopefully we can build up better partnerships going forward now with some with big sponsors and they can see the exposure in what we're doing because the Dakar is the biggest off-road race in the world. So. If we can get more partners like that, we can keep pushing for top 10 in the world for South Africa.
Yeah, that will be fantastic. So, well done. We're proud of you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming back safely. Drive safely back to Joburg. En aan die ander mense in die verkeer, ek weet nie wat julle nou ry nie, as jy hulle sien, gaan maar net trek af. Trek af. Bel vir Sandra en sê jy is hier vir 'n piknik, want die mense gaan verbykom. Ek kan nie also gaan net afdraf net toe kom bys toe, net te voel ons doen ook iets met spoed.
I think so.
Ja. Thank you so much. This is
Thanks for having
great
us.
chatting.
Baie
to you.
dankie.